Today I'm going to try to adjust the timing on my Pfaff 1222 sewing machine. I am not an expert. I feel like I did this before last year, but I don't remember how I did it. So I'm making this video to help me remember. But full disclaimer, I don't fully know what I'm doing. If you do know what you're doing, please make a video. That would be super helpful to the rest of us. So I'm going to take off the foot and I'm going to check the timing. To adjust the timing on my sewing machine, these are the tools that I used. I just used a regular flathead screwdriver. This is a smaller flathead screwdriver. Tweezers came in handy for the little trapdoor removal. These also came in handy mainly just for reading my ruler over here, and then this ruler, which is a flexible plastic ruler that has markings that go all the way up to the edge. It'd be really handy if this was only 3 or 4 millimeters or centimeters long, but I didn't want to destroy my ruler. Here are the instructions from the Pfaff maintenance handbook. This number 36 is how to check your timing. You can freeze frame it there. There's some little diagrams here that show, you can see the point of the hook needs to come up right behind the needle right there. And then the next page is how to adjust it. But unfortunately, there's a missing diagram right here that was very puzzling. So I looked at a lot of YouTube videos and I think I've figured it out. And I'm going to show you what I figured out. But big disclaimer, I don't know what I'm doing. If you do know what you're doing, I encourage you to please show the rest of us. But this is what I figured it out. I think it worked for me, so best of luck. Okay, I've taken off the foot and I've also put in a brand new number 14 needle. So let's check the timing here. What you do is you lower the needle to the very lowest point. And then what you got to do is you got to lift the needle 2 millimeters. This is hard to do without proper tools. One way to do it is to use a millimeter ruler, and I like to measure, see where it's at 1.5 centimeters. You can eyeball it and lift it up 2 millimeters, or you can put a clamp on your bar here and make that 2 millimeters down. I think the instructions in the manual say to use like a 2 millimeter spacer. I'm going to try a nickel. I got to put down the phone though. So I have a nickel in there. A nickel measures 1.95 millimeters. So it's not quite 2, but it's pretty close. And there's a little breathing room there. I think it's pretty close. So now I'll just lift up the foot until that hits and see where the point of the hook is. Okay, I didn't like the nickel technique because that clamp slipped up and down. So what I did is I lowered the needle down to the lowest point, and then I lifted it up using my millimeter ruler. And what I'm seeing here is there's a little gap between this point here and the back of the needle. That point right there should be right behind the middle of the needle when the needle lifts up 2 millimeters. Like that. It should be right about there. And what I'm seeing is it's here. And let's see if I can. So what I did is I used that metal part and this ruler to lift it up 2 millimeters. Unfortunately, I cannot show you because I'm using one hand to hold the camera. So that's what I'm doing. So I just double checked. I do have a gap. It looks like it's about 3 millimeters between the point of the hook and the needle. So I think it definitely needs some adjustment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off this bottom plate, and I may have to take off this little door. If you want to take off that little door, there are some hooks back here. Not hooks, there's some screws right here. You can loosen those screws. They're actually open. There's a way somehow you can just loosen the screws and then this will slide out and off. In the past, I took the screws all the way off. They were kind of difficult to get back on. But anyway, that's how you get off that little trapdoor. Okay, these are the screws that I have loosened here, 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 and here to get the bottom plate off. There may have once been a screw here, but I think one of my sewing handymen probably lost that one. Looks like there was also a screw here. This is why I'm fixing the machine myself. Now it looks like I do need to take off this little door because I need to get into this area, and that's kind of blocking my path there. So, yeah, got to do it. So I'm going to be loosening these two screws back here, and I'm sorry, these two screws back here, and taking off that door. Okay, beautiful. I got that door off. Now here's the area. This is the key area for timing. Let's see if we can get some more light over here. There's a screw there, and if you turn it around, there's a second screw here. So this, as I understand it, is the key to the timing. We're going to loosen that, and somehow we're going to be able to readjust this hook up here and fix the timing. This is the part I haven't gotten to yet. Okay, after loosening those screws, I kind of fiddled with it a little bit. It's too difficult to show you, but now I've got it kind of lined up where I want it. I've got that little hook right behind the needle. I think it's looking good. So I'm going to tighten down the screws and see if that worked. Okay, that took me a couple tries, but I think I've got it. I had to loosen both those screws, and I found when I tighten the screws, it also helped to sort of push in here. Otherwise, it sort of like worked its way out and further out. But if you push it in and tighten it, you can eventually get there. It wasn't easy. It took me, I will admit, 3 tries. And it's not perfect, but I think it's as close as I can get it. Now I used this plastic ruler, which is kind of my favorite because it's flexible, so I can fit it in there. If I had more of these rulers, I would probably cut this up. So it was only 3 centimeters, but I really like this ruler, so I'm not going to destroy it. I tried using my sewing ruler, but it didn't work as well because it's not flexible and the lines don't go all the way to the end. Another trick I used is these this magnifying glass that I can connect onto my glasses, and that helped me like really dial in the 2 millimeters of this bar on the ruler. Another technique I saw, I think, let's see, the instruction manual tells you to put a clamp, a very specific clamp on this bar, and then a 2 millimeter gauge up at the top. Obviously, I don't have either of those tools, but I did try using nickel. So a nickel is 1.95 millimeters, and if you put it in there, you can space it 1.95 millimeters. But what I found is that when you lift it up, that clamp just slips. So that's not working for me. Maybe it'll work for you. So yeah, that's timing as far as I can figure out on your Pfaff machine. Again, if you have a better way of doing it, please post a video. I'd be stoked to see it. So good luck with it. Bye.